My name is Sultan Sharif. I am a faculty research associate at Arizona State University's LA campus, and I run the slate of projects called City of All. So this event is the culmination of our first year of the Touch Aesthetics Fellowship, which is part of our Haptics for Inclusion Lab. We had 5 amazing artists come out to show their work, really share it with the community, and it was the culmination of months of doing research, of design, of really digging into this technology and seeing what it's capable of. They really wanted to think about different ways to put together experiences that could empower people who are disabled or coming from other other abilities to be able to really dive into immersive experiences.
Yeah, there is a build.
Hi, what inspired me about this project? I have been a pianist, and I got a cochlear implant about 5 years ago. And it was a chance for me to reconnect with my piano as a musician. And at the same time, because the implant was such a new experience in understanding sound again, so I was really kind of thinking about multiple sensory ways of experiencing and understanding sound. So touch was one of them. And so I had been working on a sort of a flowchart about these puzzle-solving challenges in understanding sound and speech, because for hard of hearing, there's a lot of sound that we don't hear, so we have to put in a lot of visuals or touch and body spatial cues.
So the inspiration for this project came from my doctoral research a few years ago. I spent about 7 years researching creative ways to use haptic sensation to enhance film entertainment, the experience for audience in an inclusive way. This is basically a build-up on that experience, so trying to basically use the haptic sensations to as a narrative technique. So I went deep into exploring how we could use it as a narrative technique to enhance the storytelling experience for audiences in inclusive ways. Touch is one of the most inclusive senses that we've got, and therefore is one of the most inclusive ones. I was thinking about how can we use touch to tell stories.
There are a couple of things that I think we'd hope people will get from our project. One of the things is understanding how the way we build technology, we also need to think about disabled folks within the process of creating technology to make it more accessible for them and even for other marginalized communities, and thinking about ways in which we can bring this technology out to folks who don't necessarily have access to this technology.
I think offering an alternative way to imagine software and hardware and imagine what haptics technology can be for and who it can be for is probably the biggest takeaway we hope our audience gets. Thanks.
We need to be thinking about research around feeling stories as much as seeing and hearing them, which has kind of been something I've been obsessed with for a long time. And I really thought it was important that we should do a Haptics for Inclusion Lab.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Chang. I'm the Director of Programs at Leonardo. I think that they had a really short time in this fellowship, something like 3 months to prototype these works, and the way in which they've come together is nothing short of extraordinary, and I really hope that they continue to have a life after this. I hope people walk away from this with an understanding that there's many ways to be in a body, and there's an embodied mind, and these experiences are an invitation into imagining those possibilities and into rethinking what the creative possibilities are of immersive storytelling when you integrate new kinds of feeling and knowing into that creative process.